All right, so we're launching a couple of new sections on the come up this week. The first one is called the oven. And the reason for starting this, it kind of goes back to 2006, back when we first started the site. It's about 6 years ago now. And at the time, there weren't a lot of companies doing web content. It was mostly just riders doing videos of themselves or their friends filming them. And most of the companies hadn't really dived in and started doing web content yet. It was a few notable exceptions like Pegleg and Animal. They were doing it back then. And maybe a few others were kind of early, but back then there was a lot of dudes who weren't really like fully developed as riders. They definitely wouldn't be what you consider pros. And I was kind of like that we had like a lot of dudes who were younger, who maybe were on the internet all the time, and they were getting their stuff seen by a large audience because they were on the come up. So I'm sure you've noticed that that's kind of changed. Now every company puts out almost all their content online first. And I've always kind of had a rule in my head that I never really wanted to have more than 20 posts a day going up, because it seems like then things are getting pushed too fast off the front page, and it just seems like, when you have the new Nathan Williams banger edit on there, you kind of don't want to like push that off the front page to make way for a whole bunch of like reader videos or videos of dudes who aren't necessarily on that level. When everybody's checking for that new Nathan Williams edit, you still kind of want it to be on the front page, right? So that's sort of the reason for the new blog that we're doing. Project Pat, motivation. So for the oven, the idea was just to have a separate section where we could sort of highlight dudes that maybe aren't quite at that pro level yet or whatever, but they're still doing something dope. And I think it's good because a lot of kids who check the site, they obviously like to watch pro riders ride and everything, but then it's cool for them to be able to look at something that maybe they can relate to a little bit more. And it'll be sort of like a breeding ground where you'll see a dude who's got all of his edits going on the oven, and then all of a sudden one day maybe he gets picked up by some company and he gets with like a better filmer, or maybe his riding just sort of gets to another level, and all of a sudden he's on the front page, and we'll be able to look back at when he was on the oven and just sort of see all that stuff, and he'll be able to relate to it, So the general rule that we're going to have in the oven is that when we put up edits, even if there are some obviously negative things to say, we're not going to say it. We're just going to stick to, just praising the things that are good about it instead of us specifically pointing out the negatives. And then we can kind of leave it up to the comments section. And ideally, in my mind, the comments section is going to be a little bit more constructive and a little bit more positive than on the main blog. I mean, obviously, if the comments were more positive on the main blog, that'd be fine too. But if we have it sort of have a vibe where, dudes are actually helping each other out and giving advice on maybe filming or editing or how to, export your video and have it look the best, everything like that, that's what I really want to go for. Because these aren't necessarily dudes who are already sponsored or whatever, and they probably are more in a position where they're down to, get some good constructive criticism, and hopefully dudes can work together on making their edits look better. Feel free to submit your videos, and hopefully we can get this to be a really good section on the site.